Hey, what's up, nerds? So, over the weekend, we got really exciting news, and that is that Dragon Ball Super card game is going digital. We're going to get a digital client for Dragon Ball Super. And this is something that Dragon Ball Super players, collectors, people have wanted for a long time. And it looks like Bandai is finally about to make our dreams come true. And I've honestly always thought that digital clients were really important for card games. Card games, they're tabletop games. You're meant to play them with friends. But in this day and age, it's harder than ever to make it out to a store. Stores are, well, the sad truth is that a lot of them are dying. It's harder than ever to go to find a tournament or just a pickup game at a random time at your LGS. And so digital games kind of fill that void. It's just easy to jam a few games at night before you go to bed at the end of a long day. You want to play your favorite card game, you just hop online and play. You could always play against friends, or you could play a ranked ladder. I've always loved that way of playing card games. Sure, it's nothing like being there in real life. I'm not saying it's a perfect one-for-one substitute. I'm not saying that the LGS should go away. I think playing with real people is as good as it gets, but I think a digital client is a very important secondary thing for folks to have access to, and I think any card game that has a digital client is going to reap some huge rewards. I think there's a lot more player investment, player retention. I think people are more invested in the game if they have a way to also play online in their free time, in addition to just collecting and then going to in-person events. And the big three card games, they all know this. Magic has had one of the longest running online card games there is out of any TCG. They started out a really long time ago with Magic the Gathering Online, and I remember playing MTGO literally a decade ago. I was playing a lot of MTGO back in like 2011, 2012-ish. Like, that was literally a decade ago. So Magic's been doing it. Magic's big cash cow was meant to be Arena. Magic Arena is Magic's refreshed, newer digital client. And that came out around end of 2017, early 2018. Pokemon has had a really solid way to play its trading card game online for quite a while too. And they've recently tried to refresh their client, create a brand new system from the ground up. But as far as I understand, that's been having a ton of issues. And so most people are still playing on the older client. The older client is, I believe, managed by Direwolf Digital, which is kind of a cool company. They make a game that is native to their studio called Eternal card game. And I've played an absolute ton of Eternal. Shout out to anyone who actually still plays. Drop a comment down below if you ever did play. I actually thought it was a fantastic digital-only TCG. Really, really good, generous card game, a lot of fun, but it never really took off, and now it's like, its player base is kind of dwindled. It's pretty small, it's kind of sad, but for a while there in 2017, it was pretty dope. And then the third of the big three, Yu-Gi-Oh!, recently just launched their game, and that's called Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and it's made by Konami. And that I haven't actually played, but it does look pretty slick, and I'd like to give them a lot of credit for getting a lot of digital TCG influencers on board. They've gotten some big name Hearthstone players to consistently play Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, people like Brian Kibler, Dog, other big Hearthstone players and digital TCG peeps on Twitch and stuff. So all the big three, Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, they all know what's up. They've already gone digital, and now Bandai is going to do the same with Dragon Ball Super. So the news just dropped, and we're not even really getting more information until I believe March of next year. So it's a few months away until we get more juicy details, but for now, there's just this quick trailer which we can check out right here. All right, so here's the Dragon Ball Super game digital version announcement. Right now, they're literally just calling it digital version, I think, which is kind of funny. I'm curious if there'll be an official name for the game. And honestly, they're really not showing us anything at all here, in my opinion. I'm really curious, who is making this game? Who the studio is, if there is one. We almost get a look at some cards right there. Right here. This is like the clearest look we can get at some actual cards. So curious if they'll look like this, but that's not a great look. Although they do look pretty like almost like the normal cards, but just like simplified. So I'm very curious about more details. I'm curious how generous the game will be, like how easy or hard it will be to acquire cards. I'm super curious how slow or fast they're going to introduce all of the cards, because there are quite a few sets for Dragon Ball Super. Like, there are a lot, to be honest. And then just other things like, will there be like extensive animations in the game, like we just saw in that little trailer, or will they keep those animations more kind of to a minimum? Like, are you going to play a card and then it's going to like cut scene to some crazy animation? I don't know how I feel about all that. I don't really think that much flashy stuff is really necessary in an online card game. It can add a bit, but it can also make it feel more slow and clunky. Like in Magic Arena, sometimes you literally have to wait for animations to finish, and you have to like do stuff quicker because you have to account for the time that the animations are going to take. And all of that feels like a little strange sometimes. Also just curious if there will be like any code cards inserted in new booster packs, and will there be any sort of integration between the physical game and the digital, because I think there's definitely an opportunity there. Finally, this announcement makes me wonder if Bandai will try to take its other TCG titles digital. You've got Digimon, which I'm sure people would love to play online. You've got One Piece, which again would be fantastic online, and if I'm understanding, plays kind of similar to Dragon Ball Super. And then last, we've got the upcoming Battle Spirit Saga, which is kind of a newer English release TCG that Bandai recently announced. So that game's supposed to be very competitive, and I wonder if we would get a Battle Spirit Saga digital client. Overall, I'm excited for this. I'll almost definitely try it out when it comes out. I think this is really a smart move from Bandai because I've said it before, I'll say it again, every TCG that can should have a digital version. It just makes more people invested in your game, invested in your IP, and it keeps people coming back. And the digital cards, cosmetics, etc. are a whole nother revenue stream. As always, I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you haven't done so. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.